deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra said. Driving in here and I'm seeing these Doug Jones yards. Oh, man! Man, it's so good to be here with you. I am so happy to be here. It's great to see old friends. Old friends like Robert Kennedy. You know, I got to tell you, folks, all these congressmen who kept talking about repeal and replace affordable health care, maybe it's time we repeal and replace a few congressmen. My buddy Jason Fisher, I heard Robert talking about, look, there was this interesting bond among the candidates for the Senate in the primary last year. It was really special. It really was. We didn't know each other. We started traveling around together. I got to as many of those as I could get. Poor Jason wore his tires out. Robert was wearing it. Will Boyd, thank God Will's not here because I hate following Will Boyd. Man, he is just the absolute best. And I want y'all to think about that. From those candidates that nobody knew last year, out of one of them, you got a lieutenant governor nominee. Out of another, you got a nominee for Congress. Out of another, you got a nominee for the state Senate. And another, Brian McGee is running for the state House. And out of that whole group, you got one United States Senator. I am so happy that Danielle asked me to come down here today. I have been trying to do as much as I can getting around the state. Mitch McConnell kept us in session as long as he could stand it. And so I haven't been able to get back to the state that much. My normal week is to get up to Washington on Monday, and I'm usually back on Thursday or Friday. And so it's limited my time to get down here, even kept us in most of August. And so I'm so happy to get around. We were in Mobile last night. I went over today because I do have an interest in making sure some of my colleagues stay in the Senate. We've got such a narrow window right now in the Senate, and it's a tough race. It's really tough out there in the Senate races. The House is a different story, but the Senate races are tough. So I went over this morning and spent a little time with my friend Bill Nelson, great senator from Florida. I wanted to make sure I get back here because let me tell you something. It is time we put Danielle in House District 94. Let me say about Danielle and really all of our House and Senate candidates and our ticket. If you look and see what's going on in the state of Alabama right now, and you look, now let me tell you something. Don't everybody get crazy because we're not going to see a blue wave in Alabama. Y'all know that. But let me tell you something. We've already won. Okay? We've already won. Because we do have candidates like Danielle. We do have candidates like Jason. I heard some other names out here that just ran all over me. I'm telling you, we have made such great strides, and it's all because of you. It's not because of the candidates. It's not because of Doug Jones. It's because of you. You're the ones that got out and knocked on the doors. You're the ones that got out and carried people to the polls. You're the ones that got out, got on the phone calls and did postcards for us in December. It was an incredible night for us in December. I will tell you, not to mention the fact that it was my 25th wedding anniversary. Earlier today I said it was December 17th, and I thought, oh my God, y'all don't tell Louise I missed a ball. She kept thinking we were going to be on an isolated beach somewhere for the 25th. And I said, hell, honey, I got you confetti cannons. But it really, that night was not because of me. It was because of you. It was because of people all over this state. And we did something on that night that no one thought we could do. We gave hope to a lot of people. Yeah. We gave hope all over the country. I have, since I was elected and since I was sworn in January, I've done a fair amount of traveling on different things for different reasons. Some for my own, some for other people, some just as a senator doing senatorial things. The thing I hear most from people all over the country, not just Alabama, I heard this a lot in the campaign, but I'm telling you the thing that I've heard most from people around this country, they all say almost the same thing. They say, Senator, you gave us hope. You gave us hope. I'm talking about people in California, people in New York, people in the Midwest, people in Florida, people all over. Because we finally did something in Alabama that we know we can be proud of. And it makes a difference when you've got candidates like Danielle and Jason and Robert and others that can get into office and win. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a true story. And a lot of people, and they don't give me a lot of credit for it. And I get that because this state's full of politicians that want to grab credit for everything, even if they didn't do it. But the night of my election, I got a phone call. And I got a bunch of phone calls, actually. And this one, they happened to catch me. I didn't answer it, but they happened to catch me before my voicemail got full. And I listened to it the next day. And it was from the mayor of Huntsville. An old friend of mine, Tommy Battle, who ran for governor. But this is what he said. He said, Doug, we need your help. After your election, as soon as that election was called, Toyota and Mazda called us and said, we're ready to come to Alabama. Okay? I talked to his folks and I got my letter in, but that's the kind of thing, that's why elections matter. That's why we know that elections have consequences for good and for bad. We need to make sure that this year's election is one for good. I listened to Danielle talk a few minutes ago about all the things that you can hear the passion in her voice. I've heard Robert talk about these things. I've heard Jason talk about these things. You know that when she starts talking about being a young kid swimming in Mobile and not being able to do that now, she's hurting inside. And she wants to do something about it. You know, right now, we got parents every day that are waking up and sending kids off to school thinking incorrectly that those kids may be getting a first-class education when they're not. We know that. We've had now 8 years of total domination by one party. It was pretty much that even before. But yet, and I hear all these ads and I see all these things about all these jobs. And look, our economy is doing good. And there's a lot of doggone reasons for that. And some of them's name is Barack Obama. Yeah. Is booming, it's doing well, we do have jobs, but you know what, we got to get wages up. And despite all that, despite all the jobs, despite Mercedes and Toyota and our economy coming in, guess what, we're still 47, 48, 49 at so many things in this country. Whether it is education, whether it's obesity, whether it's diabetes, whether it's people with pre-existing conditions, which now I can really get rolling on pre-existing conditions. Because let me tell you something, I am sick and tired of listening to the president and my Republican colleagues talking about how much they're going to protect people with pre-existing conditions. Let me tell you something, the minute Donald Trump was sworn in as president, anybody with a pre-existing condition was in jeopardy. And it has continued to do that, and it is only through the work of Democrats in Congress trying to save that. And right now, the state of Alabama, as I think Danielle said, we're part of a lawsuit. Steve Marshall has decided, and the governor has decided, that they're going to enter a lawsuit that's in Texas to try to declare the Affordable Care Act unconstitutional and do away with that mandate. We cannot allow that to happen, folks. We cannot allow that to happen. And with your vote, you can send a message to say, get out of that lawsuit. Jump on the other side and start defending that, because you know what? In Alabama, clearly 1/3 of the people under age 65 have a pre-existing condition. And in between what the president's trying to do with the junk insurance plans and that, I guarantee you people with pre-existing conditions, if we're not careful, are going to see insurance premium go through the roof. They're going to see long waiting periods. That is going to hurt the people of Alabama. That is going to hurt the people. And that's why we have to elect a governor, a lieutenant governor, and members of the legislature that can say no more. We got to stop this. All right. No singing. You know, and I got to tell you something else. Last night, I went in and checked all my tickets. I didn't win. Although I got to tell you, I'd take that lottery. I'd take my December win over that lottery ticket. But you know what? One One person walked into a convenience store in South Carolina, plopped down $2 and ended up being a millionaire. For the last 20 years, we have had an opportunity to get involved in the lottery. For 20 years we have had, and for 20 years the powers that be in Montgomery have stopped it. Now, an education lottery, I want you to think about the tens, if not hundreds of millions, probably billions of dollars that this state lost out over the last 20 years because our state legislature, our governors, refused to try to get a lottery. That has got to stop. And on November 6th, you've got an opportunity through your vote to say, this is my lottery ticket. This is what we want to do. Let's start funding education through that lottery like 44 other states, or 46, and let's get that lottery into Alabama right now. You know, I won't elect people like Danielle and Jason because you know what? They represent everybody in their district. They're not just going to represent the few, they're going to, or the privileged. They're going to represent everybody. We got to elect folks just like that. Let me tell you something. If you look at Danielle's history, if you look at Jason's history, you know they got servants' hearts. And that's what we need. We don't have that in Montgomery, and we need that. I was in Uniontown yesterday with Mayor Maddox. Because in a very bipartisan way, in our appropriations in Congress this year, Senator Shelby and I, along with Congresswoman Sewell, was able to garner about $27 to $30 million for a project in Uniontown. Uniontown doesn't have a whole lot of folks in it. They got a school, but they ain't got a whole lot of folks. And those folks generally don't vote for the people that are in power in Montgomery right now. And in Uniontown, their sewer system is so antiquated that they have raw sewage that's backing up into creeks right there behind the school. And Senator Shelby, who's chairman of appropriations, working with me, working with Congresswoman Sewell over the South in the House, got about $30 million to try to upgrade that system and connect it down to Demopolis. Let Demopolis upgrade their system. So all it takes is one thing. All it takes is the stroke of a pen from a governor saying the state will commit our fair share, which is only $3 million.
Oh my gosh.
We can't get it done. We can't get it done. We're losing $30 million in Uniontown, but that's just the tip. We have got so many problems in the Black Belt because it just gets ignored by the powers that be. It's not, Danielle and Jason are going to represent their districts, but they're going to look at everybody in this state. They're going to want to make sure that everybody gets their fair share and gets the thing out to vote. And let me tell you something. Right now, I say your right to vote is under attack. Yes. Every day, the people, those 4 little girls that died in the church bombing that I was able to have some success prosecuting later on. Every day there's an effort to roll back, which makes it just a mockery of their deaths. We have got to elect a team, and that's what this has got to be. This has got to be a team effort to make sure that people have access to the ballot box, to make sure that we have free and fair elections, that we do those things to encourage people to get out to vote. Early voting is a part of that. We can do that. We can get and we can protect the ballot box. But we can do that so that people don't have to take off work to go vote. And, why is it that we insist on having one day for 12 hours in the middle of a work week is the only day that you can vote? I'll tell you why. Because it discourages some people from getting to the polls. And you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. We have got to elect this team that's going to make sure that everybody has free access to the ballot and we get early access to voting. I want to just say, and to kind of wrap this up a little bit. One, I'm so thankful for you to be here to help these folks. Because I know what you can do. I've seen it. I am an exhibit. Lawyers have all these exhibits in court. I'm exhibit number 1. I am exhibit number 1 about what can happen when there's a passion and an energy for change. I am that person. And it's because of you. It's because of the energy and passion that we saw, all knocking on the doors and the calls. We've got to do that again. We have got to make sure that once again, Alabama is on the right side of history. We have got to make sure that once again, Alabama puts its best foot forward to ensure that all people are treated with dignity and respect. That's the hallmark of who we are, not the other side. And I'm going to tell you, it ain't easy being a senator these days. I got to tell you. I mean, it is busy. There's a lot of things coming at us. You know, and today as I'm riding between Mobile and Pensacola and here, every time I look at my phone, there's another bomb being discovered somewhere. Y'all seen all the news. Let me tell you, folks, I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. I know what it means when words have consequences. And we have got to start dialing back the rhetoric. We got to make sure that we start treating people with dignity and respect. And we've got to make sure that we do the right thing and to make sure we get the right people in office that's going to carry our message across, that all God's children are created equal. That is what I'm trying to do. I promise you that I am going to continue to do that for the next 2 years. I don't care about the naysayers. It doesn't matter to me. I am going to continue what I do, and that is to do what I think is right. I can justify any vote I take. And you're not all going to agree with me. You may yell for me now, but you may not. I get that. You know, my wife doesn't agree with me on most things, actually. But I'm going to tell you, we need people in the Senate. We need people in the House. We need folks right now that are just going to simply look and not put their political finger to the wind and see which way the wind's blowing. They're going to do what's the right thing and make sure we move forward. So once again, thank you. Please get out on November the 6th.